then we
Hilarious.
didn't have to hear any of the bad stuff that just happened. That's great.
Funny
Yeah, I
stuff.
set myself to auto start on quiet because sometimes and you're gonna hear.
We got feedback
We
going
can hear
too.
now.
Yep.
Are you back on the stream?
Yep.
No,
You
we
back
definitely not mention how John pooped himself.
Real
No,
quick,
don't do that.
while we have a little bit of
into his computer.
kerfuffle going, the sound is my wife. She's taking a bath. That's fine, whatever. But the fun part of me telling you what happened just now. So earlier today, I was playing video games, and I was playing with a controller, which you can't see because my camera's not live. But I held it up as if you could see it. I'll go ahead and put the camera back. So I have my controller, and where I set it, which I'll never do again, is on top of my computer, which apparently today was directly on my power button. So when I shifted my headset at that point when I was talking and moving to go and hit a button to change the view we had, it literally pulled it off of the power button it had been sitting it on, which finished the reset and caused my computer to start turning off all the programs and shut down my computer. So that's what happened. That's why we are where we are. Wasn't my cat. Wasn't like an actual power problem. It was just my stupid ass.
Definitely not root beer.
Looking for somewhere to put space, like put things for space, and setting it in the worst possible place. And yeah, we'll be getting a little bit of feedback. Like I said, my wife is drawing a bath, so I will shut my stuff off.
You say she's drawing a bath, but it always sounds like she's vacuuming that damn wall.
She's vacuuming the bath. Yeah, that's what's happening. The common water wall is literally right there. It's like, right there.
It's fun.
Like, I really hope that the pipes don't burst and shoot out all over my computer. But anyways, I'm gonna kill my mic. You folks go ahead and do your thing.
Okay. So, did we decide on the pearl?
Yes, just Joseph called a vote, and everybody thinks it would be funniest. I don't know. I didn't hear much dissent. I knew most of us voted funny. Keep it.
I was like,
Andy, you're the most
Andy was
likely
the
to vote
only
no.
one that didn't want it.
Nyx would be the only one that doesn't, and then
whatever. So I'm gonna say
Silas would be indifferent.
Andy is a little bit nervous, but Nyx will say, "Sure, go for it." I'm just gonna stand back a ways.
Yeah, just hand it to
Heck yeah.
Ezekiel and don't stand within like 15 feet of him.
What you were out of the thing for, John, was that I'm in winter form, which means that I like nothing really matters, and I allow others to guide my actions. So
Gotcha. Okay, that's fine.
committed to the what I made, the decision I made of my character, following those seasons. So
Perfection. So what I will state then is there are two things that are different for you now that we've come to a conclusion as to how that rolled out. Number one is soon after you got the stone out and were walking around with it, your elvish arcane senses very clearly identified that beacon had activated, meaning that someone cast scry on it. But you know at least once, or still, you are being watched. Second, just having the beacon with you in this room creates a very strange difference in the depiction of the door that I gave last time as to what is current. The depiction of the door now shows a accurate, like the main door that you're trying to go into, instead of what I said before. Just forget that. Now it shows a what appears to be a warrior in a very similar garb to the mummy lord that you beat the shit out of, holding his hands up like this. In his left hand he holds a scepter. In his right hand he holds a sword. The scepter he holds is identical to the one you found in the sarcophagus, in that it is a simple rod with a golden hand at its top. Or in this case, just a hand at its top. It's not really gold.
Is the sword notched?
The sword appears to be what is known as a khopesh. It is a very interesting looking sword / axe.
All right.
Okay.
So back to the puzzle.
I would like to ask Sanat to ritual cast detect magic and to check all the coffins for us to see if there's magically stuff in it.
Okay, so yeah, again, the coffins are a struggle, as we've learned. They're not a simple break it open, yalla la di da. So I just want to make sure that you commit to the bit and tell me which ones you are opening.
He
I'm
just wants
just
them to
having him-
scan them all first. We know
Yeah.
which ones to focus on,
Gotcha. Detect magic. you
and
mean?
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever else is in the area.
Would
Sure.
would Sanat's detect magic still be active, or would that have gone away since the battle? Or not
It,
battle, but the puzzle.
It takes 10 minutes to cast. I don't remember if you took a short rest or not. If
We
you
did.
wanted, yeah, so then it's gone.
I think we did a ritual cast and then short rested. Yeah.
So yeah, they'll have to cast it again. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
Like it's 10-minute ritual and nothing's coming at you yet.
Just
so
asking.
if you do that, what you will note is that the following is true. There appears to be magic in every single sarcophagus in this space. The marble blocks are all magical. The door is magical. The jars are all magical.
How big are these jars? Say I'm in the queen's room where there are many.
Varies.
Or
So in the Queen's room,
several.
there are two different sizes. There's one that is large, that is probably about the size of Ezekiel, kind of like squatted down a little bit. So like a good 5 foot height, but like a really girthiness.
Husky sized.
100 gallons.
Yeah, husky size, like our goodest boy. And then
Like my Jeep.
there are 3 that are substantially smaller, more in line with
Jeremy's
the kind of
laughing too much.
water jugs, kind of probably like a good 2.5 foot tall and like a bit thinner, more spindly. But all 4 of those are sealed in the same way. And does anyone have religion trained here? I don't think that's true, right?
I
We lost
think
our
religion's the one we all missed.
Yeah, that's the one that we lost. When we
Outside
lost
of Andy having the jack of all trades.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, okay, so Nix, I'll allow you to make a religion check since it's not something you would know automatically.
+2, go. 11.
Okay. It is something you do not know. But the
Okay.
wax is very strange. It's an almost translucent kind of like creamy white wax that's kind of sealing the top of it.
Like,
Yeah.
if it's something I could get with a history check, I got you, but.
It's the contents of that seem to be magical. The jars in the bottom left room and also in the stranger room, the blue jars, those are magical. And upon inspecting them, they are filled with water.
The jars themselves are magical there.
The jars are magical, correct?
If nobody minds, I might crack open one of these spindly jars in the queen room. Just have a little look, have a little sample.
I give it a sit.
Okay, so are you opening up one of the smaller ones then, you said?
You said one was spindly. Oh, there are 2 sizes, so yeah, one
Yeah,
of the
2
smaller
sizes.
ones.
Yeah. So you kind of cut at the wax, cutting it, getting to, opening it. And once you get it to a point where you feel like there's a point in the process where it feels like the cap is not just being kind of sealed with the wax, it's being held down with the wax. And you feel like at this point, if you cut any further, it is just going to uncork itself. So you can decide now whether or not you want to get in there and get whatever's inside with the pressure that it has, or leave it as is.
I'm gonna point it away from myself and sort of saber that thing.
Point it at you there.
I'll point it at the corner.
He's on the ceiling, right? I mean, like he's hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah,
Typically on
typically.
the ceiling, but
You do not walk on the ceiling when people are uncorking champagne. That's don't do.
yeah, I'm gonna face the TV on the
I'm
wall.
gonna catch a cork in my teeth.
Okay, so you pop it open. Who else is in the room with Bodhi when that's happening?
I am.
It looks like
Ezekiel.
Ezekiel.
Cool. You pop it open, and immediately a flare, and then kind of just gush of a kind of bright pink and purple fluid slash mist kind of rushes out and starts splaying everywhere in the room. I need the two of you to go ahead and make Constitution saving throws.
Oh, those aren't easy.
Okay?
Yeah, 7.
Okay. So the two of you, upon imbibing and kind of like, feeling the rush of this liquid slash gas, the best way to describe it is a wet kind of mist. But as it kind of hits you and you feel it kind of breathe in, go ahead, say what you're going to say.
Is it like a poison effect type deal?
It is a poison.
Yeah, we're getting
Okay, I have
splashed by
advantage.
it.
Okay, so
I was
29.
reading more.
So again, 29 for your save, 7 for Bodhi's. But it splashes on you, it kind of rushes about on you, and fills the room quite quickly before quickly descending down this miasma, kind of just floating to the ground. Very heavy substance. But the two of you with that check, Bodhi with that check, you gained the poison condition for 24 hours.
I have resistance to poison and acid damage, and I have advantage on saving throws to
Then
be
you have a
poisoned. Does a
17.
17 make it?
17 will make it. So then the two of you
Dick.
will pass. Great job. The only effect you'll get is the damage halved. And you have resistance to that, Bodhi. So you'll take half of what's said. You don't have resistance, do you, Ezekiel?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, so then both of you will just take half? Okay, cool. So it was 42, and half of 42 is 21.
Jesus.
Well, the actual total was 84, so...
Like, still a lot, but I like it when the right people walk into a room and blow themselves up by accident.
For sure. So, like I said,
Is there any left in the jar?
No, so it gushes. Well, yeah, there seems to be like dregs in there, but it seems like the majority of it kind of splayed out, and then kind of after hanging in the air for just a few moments, kind of settled down on everything. So everything seems to be covered in this kind of pink and purple, like, just it's almost like a sheen. It's not like a solid goop. It's just kind of like a nice kind of like light
It just painted the room.
sheen. Yeah, I guess that's a good way of saying it. But it's
Can I try to scrape some into a jar? Because this is kind of my deal.
yeah, you can certainly scrape some into a jar. That's fine. In fact, you
Hell
still
yeah.
have a jar.
I've got so many jars. You don't even know.
So I do want to describe a couple things just so we understand. Like,
He just like drag his pseudopod across it and soak it up and put that in a jar.
don't want that. Don't want that.
Just suspend it.
So the smell is probably the most important part of this aspect here. It smells. You kind of had that earthy smell that you had before, okay? If you know what the word petrichor means, you know exactly the smell I'm talking about. If you do not know what that smell is, or what that term is,
That's
the
that new
smell...
Pokemon, isn't it?
Huh?
I said that's that new Pokemon, isn't it?
It is a Pokemon, yeah.
I also wanted to make a Pokemon joke.
It is the smell that persists when it's about to rain or just starts raining that the earth kind of like lets out. It's a kind of certain smell of rain. But imagine that to a point where it was nauseating. That's the smell that's all over this room now.
Yeah, some what's it? Is it one prestidigitation? I'll start cleaning this up.
Okay. Yeah, it does snap clean everything.
Just turn to Ezekiel. Just don't tell anybody.
Didn't happen.
If you do put stuff into there, into the jar, that's fine. But yeah, you're able to kind of clean up the room, and the jar is apparently kind of empty and not good anymore.
Sweet, free jars.
It's too big.
Oh boy, more jars.
There is the big dog-sized jar.
Well, it's not dog size; it's kennel-born size.
Yeah.
These are
He's
very
big
different
dog.
things. Oh, you meant big dog size, not
Yeah.
like big dog
I
size.
refer to Ezekiel as my dog.
Gotcha. Oh, Ezekiel gave you the. Never mind. I'm not gonna make that joke. That joke's terrible.
Oh yeah, I know where you're going. That was real bad, John.
So
Shame on you.
like the puzzle we're trying to solve, like we're trying to get through the door. Obviously, the door has like someone wearing the armor and the scepter of the mummy we killed at the beginning, and
Well, the scepter
Like-
wasn't on the mummy that you killed at the beginning. The scepter was found in one of the sarcophagi.
Okay. But we don't have a sword to match the sword on the door.
Correct.
right?
Sword's totally different.
But we have 2 of these sarcophaguses that have mentioned the word weapon or sword, right? Or it could be translated
Well,
to that.
again, the sarcophagi are not mentioning anything. The altars in those rooms, kind of like in the back wall from where you enter, they have the writing. And
The king has one.
The king mentions
And the
6
stranger.
sakes. The stranger and the knight.
Which
but
one
the
was
knight-
the knight?
The knight might be a mistranslation into common. So the knight is the bottom right room. And
Oh.
again, these notes, if you need them, they are in the hashtag Tor notifications. I love that Threshold of Revelation is Tor, the dark game. So yeah, their notes are in that notifications section. It should be
Oh,
the
okay.
news post.
I see.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're supposed to be taking one of the magical jars and distributing it to 5 and not the 6th. But I'd really like to open one of these big jars before we solve the puzzle.
Well, like, wasn't it in the strangers one where it showed like the 5 people watching and like pouring on the one? I don't know if that was kind of
Yeah, that's right. The marble block depicts a scene of a robed figure giving a gift of libation poured out onto a rectangle while 5 others look on. And
And they've all got
Oh.
a marble block in their room. So that's the rectangle. Is it just we need to find the one that gets it or the one that doesn't get it? John, are you frozen or are you just
No, I'm
like,
here.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
understand.
I didn't
So-
know if it didn't sound like you're asking me a question because you were asking for a solution.
No, I was just sort of I was just sort of posturing.
Okay, gotcha. I'm not answering your question.
And you were agape.
Yeah.
So-
have we been into the king's area yet?
I think we set foot in there. We haven't done anything with it.
Why don't
Well,
we
we-
go in there and examine the altar? So that one is going to be
the top right.
top right.
I'm gonna try something just to see if
I will
it
do it.
works. Tell me if it goes back to weird mode again. Do you see stuff
Okay.
that just popped up out of nowhere, Jody?
I see like a shadow of it. Yeah, a dark
Well, hold
shadow
on.
of it.
Yes.
It popped back up. It's all the things.
Yes.
Okay, I have an idea. Silas dies. You see nothing, right,
Right, sure.
Jody?
Nope. I still see everything.
Well, fucking hell. I don't know how to reset
Sure.
Explorer mode.
Don't need it.
It's one of
Yeah.
those things.
That's okay.
So what if the glowing blue jars are like old school decanters of endless water?
That's what I'm thinking there. And we need to pour that water
We're just
onto
not
one of
smart
these
enough to
marble
know that.
stones. It's just who gets the water or who doesn't get water. That's my
Right.
step back. And also, I'd
And-
rather open jars.
So I'm at the king on the top right, and I'm looking at the altar. Is there a knife there, or a small sword?
The knight?
Knife.
The knife, a knife. I'm
Yeah.
in the
No,
top.
The
It-
knight room is the
No,
room
the
with the
king
knife.
room.
The king room has no knife.
It has
king
a
room is-
depiction of a mountain covered in swords, if that's what you're talking about.
On the marble block.
Yeah.
Right. I guess I was just thinking that the king of six is a knife. So I was wondering if there's a knife in that room as well.
There is
Okay.
no knife. Yep. Again, if you
Got
need
it.
the description, so I'll just point it to one more time in
Yeah.
the notifications channel.
Yeah,
all
I'm
of
looking
it.
at it.
No worries.
looking at it.
read that as well, yeah.
She who comes from afar, the wanderer, the last of the something, the source of the way ahead. Follow the stranger's example, for all save the king.
Yeah, so we're supposed to pour it on everybody except for the king's stone.
That's what I'm thinking.
And so, looking in that room, if that's what you're thinking, notate everything about that room before you kind of move on mentally.
Which
What-
room? The king's room or the
stranger's
stranger's?
room. Sounds like Jeremy's focusing his attention there. So I want to make sure that you folks are also doing likewise. 'Cause
There is a jar like one in the queen room.
there are
big
two
one?
jars.
Which jar?
There are 2 jars in that room.
Oh.
There is one that has the
Oh,
water,
and another carried
Oh,
around
another
the
one
water.
that's the water. Yeah.
and then there's one that has the weird poison mist in it.
Thanks for narrowing it down. Obviously, we opened the poison bin. Eleanor.
Are you opening the poison mist?
No, I'm
Oh.
having a laugh.
I gotta be sure. I just gotta double check.
I think we need the water from the stranger's room.
That makes the most sense. Do you think it matters which order we pour?
Mm, water would probably be safer.
No. We're going to. The,
If
the
we're
idea
doing-
is we're going to take the decanter out of the stranger room.
Uh-huh.
Because the stranger's whole deal is distributing water while 5 others walk.
If it's,
Or
if it's about just
observe.
pouring water on them, the stranger is the last one, because while 5 others look on, so like, that would be last.
Okay.
And to be sure, the word that's used in that specifically in Elvish, I want to make sure that this is keenly like taken into account by Sanat.
Libation?
Libation does not mean water; it means drink. And when I say drink, I mean like alcoholic, like wine or something to that effect. It is a drink poured out as an offering to a deity, a power, a being of high stature.
That colorful poison, that wasn't any such.
It was
Beverage.
very, very potent and poisonous, which alcohol
Mhm.
can be. Yeah.
If
I'm
we
gonna
need
smell
alcohol,
the Panacean jar from the stranger room.
What's that again?
The Panacean type jar from the stranger room. What does it smell like?
The Panacean jar is water. It's just filled with water. It doesn't smell any weird. But the one that's the earthenware one,
I just wanted to confirm that it was water and didn't happen to be like wine or something.
water. Yep.
so I was just gonna say we also have an alchemy jug. We can make a gallon of wine or 4 gallons of beer if we need it.
Let's
How
do
long have we
that.
had an
Let's make
alchemy
the gallon
jug?
of wine.
We've had it for a while. I think it was like one of the first items John gave us.
A quick note: I will note that the explosive fluid or fluid mist that came out of the jar did have magic tracings on it. You could see into the jar, and the contents of the earthenware jar are magical. The jars with the water in them are magical, not the water.
Maybe they're like a version of an alchemy jug.
Do you have any questions regarding the magic at all, Joseph, or anything you want to know, like that we've mentioned so far, just to kind of help you with any questions you might have? And if anybody wants to,
Yeah. Who else has ritual cast identify? Is it just Joseph?
I don't have it.
yeah, identify won't help you with these items because it seems like magic was imbued upon them, so not that they are magical.
It's like when you say the jug is magical but not its contents.
Correct. The
jug
jug
can't-
has been enchanted, but it is not a magic item.
The only way to know is to do it. So I'm gonna take one of the magical jugs, and
The ones with water?
the ones with water. Or
Where
what
are
were
you taking it from and where are you going?
I
Is
just
this
want to grab
an
one and open
icon in
one.
The unknown, the next to last unknown in this, where it says sitting on top of the dagger is a hammer and chisel. Should that be the altar or the?
Oh, I
sarcophagus?
did write that, didn't I? Sitting on top of the
Jeez.
marble. Oh my god, what a fucking loser I am.
I was
Stop.
just trying to make sure I understood what it like if it was.
It's
like
on the
a-
marble block.
Okay.
I just edited it. Sorry about
Okay.
that.
Sorry, I'm playing catch up in my brain.
Good
and-
catch. This is why I don't do editing or self-editing.
Same.
Ezekiel, what's your plan?
I was just gonna say maybe since they're magical, maybe like pouring the water out might change the water. I mean, we don't know what kind of magic it is, so why not try?
Which room are you doing?
Gotcha. You said there was 2 of those jugs in the queen's room.
No, 2 in the unknown bottom left room.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
There are no water jugs in the queen's room.
Queen's room just has fun jugs
The fun
for
jugs.
me to open.
Ew.
Gotcha.
The queen's got
Okay.
fun jugs. Come on, you misogynist.
I'm going to grab
I said what I
the.
said.
I'm gonna grab one of them from the unknown room then.
Okay.
Before he does, I'm going to set the ladder up on its side in front of those 2 doors and lock it in place.
You love
Okay.
that ladder.
And I'm going to watch the top left room.
Okay.
I'll observe
From
from
afar.
the category.
This is very thorough. I love all
Catacomb.
of this. Okay.
Oh wait,
I'm-
am I locked in here?
Hold on.
Oh, put the ladder where you want it.
Move yourself. Because that's where I wanted it. Nope. Go left.
I'm working on it.
Okay. I'm
Amber,
leaving
yell
the
at me.
queen and the knight locked in their rooms if they're solid people and get out of their sarcophagi.
Sure. Gotcha. Okay. So you got the water jug, Ezekiel. What are you doing with the water jug?
Can I open it?
There's no. It's not closed.
It's a
Oh,
pitcher.
okay, gotcha. Okay, sorry.
And
Then,
I think the magic is just that it keeps the water in the jug or keeps it like fresh or something.
Keeps
Like,
it
yeah, I was
full.
going to
Or makes it
pour
a key.
out a little bit.
Well,
Makes it not water.
Again, I don't want to try and influence you, but I'm going to ask a question I did ask again, just so I'm not going to say exactly what I mean, because I want you to solve it. But is there any questions you want to ask about any of the stuff that you would know about the magic thus far? Like anything
What-
that you'd want to
What
know?
school
has-
is it?
It's a really good question. Do you ask that question? Do you want
am
to
I
do?
able to know?
Yeah.
that?
Hey,
Yeah.
so
Sanat's the guy.
Real quick, Joseph, this is probably the first time we've encountered this gimmick. It is a fun gimmick I like playing with, but I just want to make sure you're on board. So when you detect magic, you don't see just magic yes, magic no. You see colors, like bright rainbow of colors.
I was like, the last time we used this, I was in a place that was all magic, and it didn't really help me at all.
Yeah,
so.
no, it did not help at all. So in this space, when you're looking at a thing that is magical, or a spell, or an item, or an effect, it'll have a color to it, and the color determines what school it is, which can be helpful in understanding what the magic is without having to identify it. So, for example, like if it's an abjuration spell that's on something, it's probably some sort of protective ward or something to that effect. If it's evocation, it's probably like a triggered trap that's going to like happen when something happens that causes that evocation kind of build up to release. And then, there are other things that could be the case. So do you want to ask any questions about any auras that are present? Because you have to focus on the thing to kind of get the aura right.
So I guess we want to know about the jars, right? Or do
Okay,
we-
so the blue jars, we're looking at those.
The one
Wow.
that Ezekiel's
So-
got in his hands.
The jars, the jar that Ezekiel has in his hand specifically, has a green aura to it. Green very much specifically is transmutation.
Okay.
I'm going to pass Ezekiel an empty jar and stand in the furthest corner I can.
When you pass him an empty jar, which jar are you passing him?
Glass. Forgot I have clay in there too, but we'll go glass so we can observe.
Yeah, you also just added a jar to your stuff, so just check.
Okay, I'll pour some into.
Oh, did I take one of the spindly ones?
No, yeah, you just earthed everything out of it. I'm assuming you're keeping the jar, right?
Yeah, I'll keep it.
I mean, you are the keeper of jars.
Who you
so
are.
I mean, I didn't think you were just putting them
I'm-
back.
My assumption was that the jars in the queen's room were much larger. I've been keeping small, like little mason jars.
You pour water out into the small jar, it pours out just fine. But the thing that you're thinking of specifically for Brent isn't true. When you pour the water into the jar, it is water. The other thing, which was a question someone else had mentioned, maybe there's some sort of
whatever we
archaic
put into it will
decanter.
become water, right? Is that
Well,
what that?
Who knows? I'm not getting there yet, but the instance of decanter of endless water, somebody had mentioned that as a possibility. Looking at it and checking the levels very closely, kind of pulling out the tools and looking at it, you would note that the amount of jar water is the exact amount of water that has been removed from the jar that you have.
And then I guess.
Oh, okay.
What else did we say was magical? The sarcophagus themselves.
So inside of the sarcophagi, there are magic elements. However, the problem with it is it's just close to enough of a amount of stone to block you from seeing the magic. So the colors kind of radiate, and they don't really
inside the
fix.
sarcophagus, not the sarcophagus themselves.
Yeah, so there's like the last sarcophagi that we played with, where you found the pearl, cool magic items, and the like. There's magic auras in there, but because of the stone dampening, it's not a full block. It's just kind of like a lot of stone just almost enough to block you from seeing, because it was a foot of stone that says no go, right?
1 foot blocks it.
Yeah, and it's like 8 inches of stone that's currently kind of sitting in between you. So it's like kind of a muted aura, and it's so kind of pastel you can't really tell if it's like green or blue or like maybe like a red or pink, and like there's a very big difference magically to those two things.
And the altars themselves weren't magical.
The altars are not. The blocks on top of them are. And the blocks seem to have just a universal magic to them, which would basically radiate in kind of like a prismatic way, which lets you know that it is not specifically a schooled magic. It is something that is going to be triggered and will happen and do whatever it's supposed to do. But it won't be like an effect that can be kind of identified as a school. Universal triggers could be like a ping or like an unlocking of something to that effect. Or
And then
Yeah.
go ahead.
there weren't the hammer and the chisel weren't magical.
Oh, hammer and chisel are not magical. Nope.
And then the
The
jars
other-
in the queen's room we were good at that. Like
The
they all had
earthenware-
the same stuff in them or something.
They're earthenware jars, the contents of which are magical, and on closer inspection, you would note that they appear to have a highly potent evocation. So, an almost like kind of nauseating amount of red magic. It's almost primal, or primordial, like elemental.
Okay. Zach, you were gonna say something.
I was about to ask about those jars.
Is there anything else that you
took a
guys want
minute.
me to look at?
I think we've covered everything.
I was like, I'm reading through these notes, and I think that was all of the items.
Yeah.
Do we have okay? Ezekiel has the alchemist jug.
Uh huh.
No, Silas does.
Silas, that makes sense. Silas,
The cook. Yeah.
he's the cook. Would you mind? Oh, how are we gonna go about this?
Let's get sturdy and rip some lids off. While the brainiacs are thinking about shit.
No.
That would be a very difficult thing to remove lids off things.
Yeah, we did it a couple times earlier. It was tough. I'd like a non-valuable, non-dangerous liquid. I'm gonna collect a jar of, let's say, was it mayonnaise and oil and what else comes out of an alchemy jug?
Well, you don't
I know
get
I can
all-
only do one. I know I only do one, right? What are the options, please?
Sure.
You got acid, basic poison, beer, honey, mayonnaise, oil,
Do
vinegar,
honey. Honey
water,
sounds
fresh,
nice and
water, salt,
not a
and
problem.
wine.
All
We'll
the good
do
stuff
honey.
you want to put in your mouth.
I'm gonna get a jar of honey.
Okay, you have a jar of honey.
And I'm gonna pour that into the magical jar that Ezekiel's holding.
Okay. You were told by Chandler on the online, mayo is the only real option. But honey, we have it.
It's gross.
You pour
I
the
don't
honey.
want. I don't want what I think might happen with mayo.
It's that's.
What?
Shut up, everyone.
Well,
I
You
want to
said
lay
it.
down.
either you're inside of my brain or you made a comment that meant something else. But here we go. So you pour the honey out, and it's that slow dribble. The second it hits the water, it starts to kind of like coalesce in the middle and kind of pool down towards the center. But you then kind of see an activation in the water, almost as if something were causing it to spin. And the water
And
seems
it all
to kind of
becomes honey.
spin with the honey inside of it. After about a minute of the spinning, the water pushes itself inwards and seems to pour out the honey itself and then push up and then kind of pop out in a slight splash as the honey is expelled from the jar onto the floor. Had it been the mayo, it would have been funny.
Oh, it would have been very funny. Gosh.
There were. I had two ideas in mind of what could have happened, and I didn't want either.
Jackson Pollock painting.
Why am I standing next to you?
Okay,
Get
so
away
it rejects other liquids.
Or at least honey.
If I were to take a water skin and empty it into the magical jar, any change, any visible change whatsoever?
Nope, the water
It's
level is
A-okay with
increased.
actual water?
The
Okay.
water level is increased. And as you're sitting there thinking about it, you realize that, well, the water had to have come from somewhere, and your presumption is that it probably came from the fountains upstairs. Where there
Oh,
are
we can still
more
go back upstairs. That's
water
great.
jugs that
I thought
have-
we were locked in the 6 rooms.
No, I don't
Good,
think
good,
I didn't lock you in, did I?
I don't know. There was some kind of trap. And
You
a
were
lot
barred
of
from
faces.
going in. Yeah, there was that shenanigan.
Yeah,
but then you
yeah.
broke the face. That's unrepairable.
I guess if Ezekiel's still into my experiments here, pour some of the water out into the honey jar that I have. If I've got a little residual, see
Okay.
if anything changes in that jar.
Have you ever in real life mixed honey and water?
Yeah,
That's what you got.
cool. It's kind of gross.
Watered down
I'll
honey.
drink- I'll drink it.
Okay,
Or
before
no,
you-
I'll pour it back in,
You
and
know
it'll
what?
reject the honey.
Yeah, and then they'll shoot just the honey
It'll
back
it'll
out
purify the water.
onto the ground. You're not well, hold on. You know what? Make a dexterity saving throw. We can make this as fucking Disney as possible. See if you can catch the honey as it's expelled out and shot out up into the air.
I sure can't. Watch this.
Nailed it.
Throw my tongue out, dive on the floor.
You caught the shit out of it. Great job. Yeah, so it shoots up and it's kind of like those fountains at like Las Vegas, you know, like the little whoosh, and you kind of rush underneath and like
Yeah.
perfect. No honey was lost. It's a lossless transition here. Perfect.
So do we want me to pour some of this water on one of the marble things?
Yes, please.
Okay. Who do you want me to pour it on first?
Looking back at the thing. So, and the stranger says a jar like the one in the cream. Carrot panacea. She who comes from afar. The
Should I go grab the jar specifically from the stranger's room instead of the one from the unknown?
Follow the stranger's example for all save the king. For all except the king. So follow the stranger's example for all except the king.
Bodhi, you left that jar back in that room, right? The one you popped open. You didn't take it
Yeah.
with you, did you? Okay.
That's what I was saying. It was like if
I was just making
I
sure.
feel like it would be too big.
We had a discussion about
I
that.
emptied any residual into a jar of my own.
Got it.
Yep.
So
So
should I?
maybe the marble block depicts the scene of a robed figure giving a libation poured out onto a rectangle while 5 others look on. Boy. Why don't you put it in? Let's start with the queen.
Okay, I'm gonna go grab the jar from the stranger's room.
This is wine, right?
I disagree.
Okay. What do you think, Jeremy?
If you're going to serve people, typically the king is served first.
Well, it said, "I'll save the king." It
Or
was
all
it
serve
was
the king.
All save, all except for
Save
save.
meaning accept.
like
Except for except
Like
I
for.
heard
leaving
him
the
say
king
that. I just
excluded.
don't know that it's entirely true.
Well, I'm just trying to. I mean,
Why would the
that's my
puzzle line
reading of
function?
that word here, so I could be wrong. So Nick says, just do it.
So I go grab the jar from the stranger's room.
Okay.
we gotta
the
bring this
magical
ladder
jar.
down.
The water
definitely-
jar.
That's fine.
The-
I will
yeah, the
stand the
magical
ladder
jar,
upright and
like-
block only the knight's room.
Hold on, sorry.
And so,
Well,
wait.
one at a time. Brent, you were saying which jar?
You said the stranger has one of the magical
One of
blue
each.
jars.
Yep.
I'm gonna grab the magical blue jar from the stranger's room,
So the water jar. Got it.
and then just for my own sanity, I'm gonna pour some of that water into the other water jug. Does like each jug interchangeable?
Interchangeable. It's
Okay,
water.
making sure. Then I'll go to the
Since
queen.
we've seen it in practice, basically the magical effect, so far as you understand it, is once a other fluid besides water is added to it, it spins for a minute, then it shoots out the fluid. If it's honey,
Gotcha. Before I do this, and this is probably a dumb experiment, but I'm gonna try it anyway. I'm gonna take like an old piece of clothing out of my backpack and stick it in one of the jugs.
don't break it.
I've
It's
got
in
other
there.
stuff if you want
Oh,
to. Okay.
nothing happens. You
I was
have-
thinking like washing machine style and kick it out.
Nope. When you pull it back out, like obviously because it is a material that is absorbent,
Yep.
Oh no.
it comes out and the water level has changed with the disparate amount of water that came out via the absorption of the cloth material.
Gotcha. Okay.
Put some wine in there.
God, that sounded really smart.
Mm.
The thing I said.
All right. So just to confirm, I'm doing queen or king first.
I would do queen,
Okay.
and
When you
I'm
go
going to
back-
stand behind. I'm going to stand behind him, and I'm
When
going
you
to try
go-
to catch the wine as it squirts out.
When you go back into the queen room, you will note that the jar that you and Bodhi opened is resealed in the position you left it in.
That's
Okay.
fascinating.
I will state that to the rest of the party, as I am not smart enough to figure that one out myself.
Yeah, looking around, you don't see the topper. It's not anywhere. So the presumption is it's back underneath the strange, like white wax.
Gotcha. And I'm going to take some of the water jug and pour it onto the marble stone.
Okay.
The water, not wine.
That's all we have. Is
That's all
water.
we have.
Oh, okay.
You pour the water out onto the marble stone, and the stone is wet for a moment. You watch as the dampness that's on the marble kind of slowly fades. Like, this is unpolished marble, so it kind of has like a texture to it, like a stonish texture. So when you pour the water onto it, you can kind of see it, like, water staining.
Oars sit.
Yeah, sit, and it just gone, and nothing happens.
Cool. That's one down.
Oh, okay.
And,
I'll,
I just want to be clear, nothing happens. Like, the water just fades away. That's all that happens. There's no key or indicator, just that. So you can say that's the indicator that goes away.
It could be.
It's acted or not. Who knows? Maybe we'll see.
We're going for the 5.
Okay.
okay.
If you go splash
Who's
water
next?
onto the next one,
I
what's the
think
next
the
one you want
knight.
to do? The knight.
Okay.
What were the totals? It was king, queen, knight, stranger, unknown,
Unknown. There's 2 unknowns.
unknown again.
Yeah.
Let me read the 2
You can,
unknowns real
again,
quick.
there's markers or indicators that can kind of give you like a
Give me
ability
an idea what
to-
they are.
You can name it at your pleasure. I kind of left them open for you to do so, since they don't have official names. Since the writing is kind of
Right, and the answer to was peasants.
I
Quick,
mean,
quick.
Mhm.
We'll
I'm gonna
call-
pour a little bit of water onto one of the sarcophagus.
nothing happens. You're down a little bit more water.
the knight has like a lance and shield seemingly surrounded by waves of water. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
why not try that one?
That works for me.
Okay. Yeah, same thing happens. Water poured on it, and then nothing.
And then I'm gonna do which one of the unknowns do you want to do first?
There's
I'm gonna
one-
say the one with a chisel is the artist room.
We'll call that the artist room then. We go to the artist room.
Okay.
You pour on there. Has the chisel and the hammer been taken away, or are they still on top?
I didn't touch them. So.
Okay, so then the chisel and the hammer, they get splashed upon, and so does the marble. It does seem that the marble does the drying effect, but the hammer and the chisel still have a little bit of residual dampness.
Gotcha.
And we'll call the last one the peasant because nobody bothered to clean that up.
So you can definitely note that with the amount of muck that's on it, there's really nowhere for you to pour directly onto the stone without clearing it.
I'll
So what do you
go
have,
help clean
prestidigitation
him
on?
up. I got prestidigitation. I got fingernails.
Okay.
I don't have fingernails. I forgot I don't have fingernails yet.
With like a snap and a pull, you magically clear the stone of the muck. It kind of
I'll eat some of the muck too.
shoots to the side. You can see the bits of mushroom that are kind of present there. And looking at the stone in its clean state, you can see what appears to be a individual that is standing near a very close depiction of the knight, and it appears that they are carrying things. Like a squire or a knave.
The page.
or a page,
Their own version of Splug.
Forest blood.
or horse blood. What?
I love that guy.
I miss Splug.
So then you pour some water on it and it does the same thing.
Yep. And then I guess the final one would be the stranger or the king.
Stranger, not the king.
Stranger.
Right? Not the
Okay.
king.
But we don't have
We don't have libation, first of all.
I'm like, anybody got some alcohol? I mean, we have like the I mean, technically, like you said, the like poison stuff from the queen's room could be considered, I guess.
I got one more jar to crack in there. I know it's gonna explode.
But I mean,
What?
what? So like, the thing on the stranger says, follow the stranger's example, and pouring libation onto the rectangle. So that's why I thought we needed to pour wine on all of the others.
Yeah, we don't have
Except
wine
the
though.
king pour water on the king, maybe. And it says while 5 others look on. What if that means that we're supposed to do the king first? Because that's the only one that like doesn't have the 5 others looking on. I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking that, but
We got a lot of different, like, disparate kind of ideas as to like what the plan is. I just need you guys to work out together.
Opposite ideas.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of different ideas. So just like plead your case.
Okay, well, okay, so let's just look at it again. Follow the stranger's example for all except the king. What is the stranger doing?
Is pouring libation on a rectangle.
Right.
So we do that for all except the king.
That's what I thought we're doing, but then Joseph is suggesting a
and
different
then
path.
The other half of that, pouring that on there while 5 are looking on. So like, what if it's like we're following the example, but like instead of 5 looking on, it's none looking on because he's first.
I don't know, there's 6 of us and one of us is pouring shit.
Question for you. For the
For me?
typical depiction, for the typical depiction that we're seeing of the Medusa, how many snakes does she have on her head?
6.
There's Medusa?
6. Okay.
On the queen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean
What?
technically, if we could technically count the snakes as people,
Zach's like, I just got here.
Yeah, I've been skimming.
Oh, interesting. Interesting, Brent.
What did Brent say out in here?
the 6 snakes, technically, that could be 5 more people looking on.
How many snakes does the knight have?
None. It's just the
Okay.
queen is depicting a Medusa.
Right.
I mean, personally, I just want to like kind of like in character and out of character, since I don't know what the puzzle's going on. I kind of just want to take one of the mithril hammers we got and just smash them. But
Well, if anybody objects, if nobody objects, I'm gonna go open one of those other jars that will
Are-
explode.
Do we like? Is
No.
there a number of like how many swords are in the depiction in the king's room?
It's,
Do we know?
it's,
Is
it's,
it just a lot?
It's just a lot. Like, think of like the Game of Thrones throne, but it's instead like a mountain just covered with that many swords.
And I'm going for that big jar.
You grab the big jar.
Yeah. Gonna angle it down and like a headlock.
Oh
Crack
yeah.
that bad boy open.
It weighs more than Ezekiel, so when you kind of like maneuver it, it's not.
I
gonna
will
be
need a cool volunteer.
It's not going to be a situation
got
where you're
you.
going to get it upside down. Like Ezekiel's going to be like, well, we'll probably point to the corner.
can I point it at the queen thing?
Sure.
Okay, I'll do that.
And
Why
I
not?
gently carve the wax away.
Yeah, so you gently carve the wax away, and you get to that point where there feels like there's pressure, but it doesn't feel like there is as much pressure.
Good.
When you pop it, there is a, and it kind of flies off, and there is a bit of a release of the fluid, and
Fumes.
the fog. But once it kind of comes out, you realize that it seems to be mostly filled with the fluid, and only like a little bit filled with like the gas at the top. And make a perception check, Bodhi.
Perception.
Oh.
Okay. You hear shortly after this event a breaking of glass. And when you kind of hear it, you look down at your bag and you can see that it's kind of drenched with that same pink and purple liquid.
I'm gonna toss the bag away from myself as quickly as possible.
Yep, it sits there quietly for a bit. Nothing's happening. But when you go investigate it, what you learn seems to have been the case is that the jar that you filled with the weird liquid broke because it wasn't strong enough to hold it once it started fuming.
I'll press the digitation, the things in the bag, and reassemble those.
Easy enough. It wasn't a lot. Like again, it's only like a
Right.
vial jar. So
I'm just making sure my stuff's not ruined.
So once the fog dissipates, there's liquid left.
and the
A
big
red.
the big jar,
and- right.
fucking massive amount. Like it's a lot of liquid.
Is that the stuff we should be putting in the basins? In the containers?
I gotta find out what it is.
Yeah. Gotta do it fast though.
I'll get a jar out, clay one since I have some clay ones,
okay?
and I'm gonna reach my my long, spindly
Jelly hand.
slime arm in there,
Okay. So
ladle some up.
handling this in this way is going to require a Constitution saving throw, just because it's
Oh,
very very potent.
So before he does
Yeah.
that, I'm gonna take out my lute, and I'm gonna strum some reassuring tunes, and from it cast protection from poison.
Cool.
And I'll step back a little bit. Like I'm just gonna step back. I say, wait a second. Hold
So-
on.
Yeah, you already have the benefits of that, so you don't have to
Yeah.
cast that if you don't want to.
I don't think-
Okay,
think that'll
I'll
do
cast it
anything.
on myself then.
That's fine.
Oh, that's fine.
So yeah, this is not as powerful or pressurized as the first bit, but it's still pretty potent. So with that failure, it's going to be 33 poison, halved being 16, and you are poisoned for 24 hours. If you are immune to the poison condition, you do not poison.
Okay.
So just the damage on that for you.
I am busted up, but
Yeah, it
this
is.
is in the name of science.
It is
Okay, I can heal you.
really potent. And as you're kind of experimenting with this stuff, Bodhi, make a Arcana roll. And
Real quick.
Okay.
Nick, you're
I'm
there
also
hanging out
good
as
at
well.
that.
Go ahead and make
Andy, your loot would now remove the poison condition from him because it neutralizes one that's in
But
the
he's
system.
immune to it, so it's cool.
I'm not immune to being poisoned.
Oh,
I
you're
He
not.
just resists poison damage.
Oh,
Correct.
gotcha.
So now
Sorry, I
that
missed
he is
that.
poisoned, Andy can take the poison condition away with the
I
loot.
see.
So if I don't
Man.
cast it on myself, but I cast it on Bodhi like originally, he doesn't take the damage at all.
No.
No, I still take the
No.
damage. I'm just not poisoned.
Poison
Okay,
condition.
okay. So okay, let's do that, and then I'm gonna do that upcast healing on you.
Cool. And so, Bodhi, Nyx, and Sanat, go ahead and make Arcana rolls.
I was like,
Check
can I
this
do
out.
an Arcana check?
Ooh,
Oh,
Bodhi.
that's crit.
Bodhi, you've been killed by this material before. I just want to make sure you
I thought
understand.
it tasted familiar.
Nyx, you don't get it, and it just smelled like to everyone else, like it smells pretty nauseating. But
Smell
the
that.
person who is the most nauseated by this smell is Nyx. It is an affront to you and your just entire being. And Sanat, as you kind of look to it, and Bodhi, as you remember basically being destroyed by this material, you realize what it is. There
I
are
wonder if my projectile vomiting is going to go far enough to hit Uther.
There are elemental bases. Every single thing that exists has an elemental like concentrate, a perfect form of it. In the instance of fire, an elemental of fire is that. In the case of earth, an earth elemental. We have these things that are kind of like primordial essences of an element. This is the primordial essence of wine.
Oh, cool.
Pour it out for the homies
All right.
on their stuff.
It
All
is-
right. Who am I pouring it on
We're
where?
being
It
too
is.
cautious.
It is not wine.
Yeah, we're being too
It is
cautious.
a
Yeah.
hugely like potent concentrate of wine.
So we get one of the blue walk jars and we mix some of that into it.
I
Okay.
think it'll spit that shit right out.
So you take the jar
My jar, my smaller jar of good stuff.
and pour it into the blue, right?
Yep.
Spins for a minute, at the
Yep.
end of which the entirety of that decanter is filled with a reddish colored fluid.
Okay. How do I get more of these? What was it called? Base.
Base elements.
Essence of wine.
Oh yeah, you have it. You have a shit ton of it, and apparently it's refilling because the jar you broke closed up and appears to be
But
back
like
on the
no, but like essence of other liquids.
Oh, sure. It just depends on where you can extract them from. Most
Okay.
of these things are found in the elemental chaos,
Oh,
So
which
Gotta
is
go
not
to
a
the
nice
forest.
place, and it's also really hard to find like minuscule like elements.
it's like out there.
The location where wine is located is probably at like a thrust of like earth and like water and like a kind of like weird quasi positioning in between.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I'll do that. And then, do we want me to pour it on the king or leave the king?
I again think you should exclude the king.
That's
Okay,
what I
I'm gonna
think
go
too.
in the same order I did with the water.
Okay. So when you pour the fluid onto it, it does a very similar effect. However, after a fashion, the cube starts to dissolve like a sugar cube being hit by water. After it dissolves entirely, what is left behind is a ring. No matter which one you put it on, I don't need to know. All of them will do likewise, except for one, and that's the one you said that was last in your route.
Okay, so the stranger's the only one that doesn't have a ring.
Right. So there are a total of 4 rings.
4 rings. So, should I go pour some on the king to see if he has a ring, or...
I feel like that's a trap.
Yeah, I feel like that's trapped too. But...
And did you heal me, Dix?
Yeah, you
Yes,
did.
That's sweet of you.
you got it, buddy.
So you used it on all of them plus the stranger, right?
Yeah, I'll accept the
Yes.
king.
So those of you who weren't walking around following Ezekiel, when the stranger cube is melted, the door will open on its own before you go and rush off towards the king. The rings
Yes.
are present, and you have them. You can dispense those as you like, but the door will open the second that the stranger and all the other 4 are met.
Beautiful.
Do
Good
I
work,
have?
team.
Do I have an inkling idea that the earthenware jar that I put the essence of wine into will hold it safely? Unlike the
And
glass jar I used for colorful poison.
If you seal it properly.
I was like, is that something that I would be able to find out with a nature check, or is that not nature?
Nature would be good. Religion would be the best.
I was like, 'cause I got lots of.
Yeah.
I've,
So
I've got all this honey. Surely there's bees later.
what you would know with that religion or with that nature check is that the wax is unnatural. It is not a natural occurring phenomenon. However, it is very close to a natural occurring phenomenon known as adipocere. Are you familiar with that term?
Yeah, we
I
talk
know what
about it all the
adipose is,
time.
but I know what adipose is, but not adipocere.
Well, they're the same thing. It's corpse wax. It's basically
Okay.
wax that generates from a being that is
Got it.
dead over the time of it like decomposing. This specific corpse wax appears to be more potent, from what you can tell, but you cannot gauge how potent or what the method would be to kind of replicate it with that horrible religion check.
Shouldn't
Yeah, I
shouldn't
know.
there be some left behind from where I unsealed
The
the tube?
problem is if you try and manipulate it, you will not be able to manipulate it well. It is not just
I see.
it's not a sealing wax normally.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, I'll leave it behind. We don't need to get randomly poisoned by stuff. And so now, yeah, you got hit once or twice. Don't
Yeah, we
worry,
got
I healed
trapped.
you.
But,
I'm like, I just noticed. I'm like, why,
Don't worry
why
about
am
it.
I missing health?
so are we leaving
Don't watch the
king
last
door?
video.
So those of you who are in the main room looking through the door, you will see that there is the same mummy lord that you had encountered last time,
Hey, buddy.
standing out in the middle near a larger sarcophagus. It doesn't look like he emptied himself out of the sarcophagus. He just appears to be standing there, kind of looking towards it. He is not wearing the same accoutrement he had last time. Instead, he appears to be nothing more than just not technically naked because he's covered with cloth, but
Band-aids.
he is, for a mummy, naked. He's not wearing armor. He doesn't have any items.
He's stripped down to base mummy.
He's stripped down to base mummy. Yes,
We get it.
he is a naked mummy Correct. So it doesn't look like he's noticed you or that the doors have opened. He's not turning about and engaging you. So you have 4 rings.
Is he trying to open that thing?
No, it just looks like he's standing there kind of staring at it in reverence.
Do we want to? Does Bodhi have the use of the goggles to identify what the rings are? Or
No, I spent
no?
that oil back. That's all.
Okay.
I believe Sanat can cast Identify.
That's all Sinat.
Oh yeah, I can do that.
Okay. So
Oops.
yeah, the rings are magical, but whatever magic they have is deeply imbued. They either have a curse or a blessing. They do not have static effects.
Gotcha.
How many fingers does a Kennelborn have?
How many fingers does a Kimono board have? Should I have 5?
That sounds like a great joke.
Hey,
4 fingers and a thumb.
yeah,
You gonna put a bunch of mismatched curses on one hand?
hell yeah. I'll put all 4 rings
You're
on.
a
I
good
don't care.
dog.
Oh boy, the Mandarin.
We going in here?
Don't cross the threshold till you're ready.
I'm like, someone
Got your
other
ladder
than
ready?
the squishiest people
Yeah.
walking in here before them.
From what you
I'll
can
come fight you
see,
guys. but-
Womp.
the sarcophagus
Oh yeah,
that you
you're
can
the
see,
squishiest people.
the sarcophagus that you can see that he's standing and looking at is massive, and not tall, just wide and like very long from what you can tell. The room that it's in appears to be much higher ceilinged than the room you're currently in. The floor that appears to proceed before you, in the center, has a depiction of a barbed worm, which Sanat, knowing the lore of the Lady of the Deep, it is a massive worm creature with a woman as its tongue. That appears to be a kind of crude depiction of the lady. There are a bunch of hands depicted on the ground and around, kind of in a pushing fashion. And from what it sounds like, you can hear what sounds like a percussion, but it almost sounds like clomping of a horse coming from inside of that space. It's like a strangely metal on kind of stone, like a metal hoof or shoed hoof is kind of hitting the ground sound coming from inside of that chamber. But again, the rings, all 4 of them have the same kind of glow to them, the same universal magic that the blocks had. And then they appear to have a either blessing or curse, no generic identifiable magical effect.
I mean, if we want, I'll put all 4 of them on, boys.
I'm not stopping you. I don't hear nobody stopping you.
I put all 4 of them on.
Okay, you're wearing 4 rings.
Heck yeah.
Does he look cooler?
I am
Like
Blaine
more
Battle.
stylish?
Let's go.
Like
Yeah,
Johnny
I'd
Depp?
I'd say so. Like the rings are pretty. I mean, they're pretty simple. They're not like overly eccentric.
That's
Oh.
more for my look anyway.
I think
Let's
they.
go.
It's kind of like a mixture of like white gold and like yellow gold.
Oh, you don't mix those.
Well, it's not like a. They're not like. I don't mean like fused together. I mean like there's patternings and kind of pieces that are kind of connected. But yeah, they're not terribly ornate, but they're also not bland either. So
It's a standard double door, right?
it is. That is now open.
I'm
You
gonna
guys
move
are ready?
up
I'll walk through.
behind them. I'm gonna push the ladder through and lock it so the doors can't slam shut behind us.
Okay,
Over everybody's head.
understandable.
I'll walk in if everybody else is ready.
The ladder passing the threshold does seem to cause the mummy ahead of you to kind of turn its head in that direction.
Is that a ladder?
What's that ladder doing here?
It's that fucking
What the
ladder
hell?
again.
Maintenance.
We need to get you
call
some
about a leak?
coveralls.
You seen y'all had a water leak down here?
I pull out my card. Like, I'm with the guild.
He replies in a tongue that you do not understand.
What language?
He's currently speaking the royal language of the Ordric.
I actually have that on my
Bruh.
list.
No, yeah, sure, of course. You were taught by the royal family of the Ordric, which is the only way to gain that language. It is
Yeah.
such a strange.
Only
and
one
unidentifiable
family does
language.
it.
Comprehend language does not work on it. What?
No, see, he's a level
It
15
passed
monk.
into
He's
the
got that body
Underdark.
thing,
It
you
moved
know?
across the world.
Ezekiel, as you approach, you would note that on the left side, that metal sound seems to be coming from there, and also to your right as well. You would see what appears to be a person, but much taller than. And when you realize what you're looking at, you kind of get a bit of a confused face. It appears to be a person attached to other parts, almost like a centaur, but instead of a horse, it appears to be an amalgam of body parts with arms for legs. So the hands that are currently hitting the ground are covered in metallic kind of gauntlets, and it's very massive. Very strange looking. But it also has like a headdress with bright purple feathers, and it's wielding a spear.
Are we going into initiative, or I might chug a potion or two.
It doesn't seem that that's the case yet. They just kind of move out in kind of a defensive posture. There are two of them.
Rad, I'm thirsty over here.
The mummy will turn to face you and in a very strange tongue speak. But as they speak, you kind of get a sense that you can understand the language that's coming out of their face, even though you don't understand the words that are being said. It appears that there's a magical enchantment that's imbuing out from it, which Sanat, Nyx, and Bodhi would recognize as the spell Tongues. The mummy
it.
says, "Intruders."
Counterspell.
Ah! You can't talk to us.
I won't
We're too
do that,
cool
but
for
that'd be
that.
too
Don't-
funny.
I'm not hearing it.
Don't do it.
Intruders,
Blah blah blah, buddy.
interlopers, brigands that seek to steal that which is not yours.
Finders keepers, man.
You
I
will
mean,
not.
you're already dead. Why do you need it?
I am dead. You are correct. I do not need it. I revere it. I
have
honor it.
Why not give someone else the opportunity to rever or honor it?
If you had aimed to do so, or any knowledge of what it was that you sought, you, elf, would not be here.
What is it then?
I'm like, what?
The god, or the gods have claimed that those who rest beneath are not welcome in this material plane due to ancient covenant and pact. You wish to free it? For what? Its power?
Oh, maybe we got off on the wrong foot. What are you containing? Are you like a warden? Is this a prison for something?
I've
This-
already freed one crazy idiot. What's another?
Yeah, we don't want to be those guys. If you can,
Going around freeing stuff. We will talk with you. Like, we've done some ill
we're
shit.
not unreasonable people.
That which rests below was sealed here by the Six, towards the end, or what was believed to be the end, of the War of the Dragons. Which, Sanat, for you, is kind of like a nails on chalkboard term, because it's the War of the Sword and Serpent. The War of the Dragons is what it probably would have been called had the dragons won. Because it was a conqueror's war. They also used undead a lot.
Oh, what are those? Are those the centaur things you're talking about? Also, I still have vision from Sadat.
That's fine. The
Okay.
I'm too lazy to turn it off now. It's way too late in the game. But
Yeah.
the centaur things, they appear to be like amalgam, like undead creatures that were crafted for the purpose of war. They also look like they've been kind of given honorific, very old style honorifics in this attire that they're wearing. But yes, the language that he's speaking that you're hearing below it, like below the tongue's translation, is a language that Sanat, you're kind of able to understand is an old variant of Denisotvan. You don't know the language. You just can understand that the inclination of it means that it is it's rooted in the same tongue that is spoken by Denisovans in current age. But that language obviously has a number of forks. Jernaris is a language that is kind of rooted in Old Denisotvan.
Nix would ask, did the 6 who imprison the god here die as part of their efforts?
The 6 remain, but I do not have sight beyond these walls, only to what I know to be true. When they bound this place and sealed him away, they left. And because they were elves, it is unlikely that they have died unless they were murdered or killed.
Thank you.
So who or what exactly has been sealed away? If I may ask.
Of course.
I'm Bodhi.
The God King.
Why was
Does
he
he
sealed
go
away?
by any other name?
He does.
Any that might ring some bells for us? Sorry, Nix, I talked over you.
That's okay. Go ahead. Yours is a better question.
Vaticus.
Next. Anybody chime in with one of these?
Kind of does one of these.
So I don't
like,
recognize
that's
Vaticus. It means nothing to
you
me.
can make a history check. You're a bard.
I'm a bard. A bard who's not trained in history.
Not knows history, maybe?
Nope.
No?
And that's with a dadgum plus.
No,
nine.
sorry.
Go.
Sanat's 11 was no. It's not Bodhi knows.
I'm so good.
Or Sanat knows,
I'll-
yeah.
I was like, I'm not even
Nix.
trained. I'm not gonna try it. I'm not
No.
gonna dignify this.
Definitely not a name you've heard before. But there are some inclinations on the way the name sounds. That's important. It is not
Vaticus.
Elvish. It is not Denisotvan. It is specifically Aetan. It is very much a human name. Like the earliest of humans in my mythology, like they either have rooting kind of language-wise and culture-wise in our world's kind of Mesoamerican societies. And if it's not that, then it's like Greek. And so Vaticus very much is a kind of Parnan styling, like where the Parnans kind of came from.
hmm
That kind of middle ENA kind of sound name. Well played, Jeremy. That is a pretty solid one. I do like that. That's a good pun. I will grant you inspiration for your "It's all Greek to me" comment in the chat.
Do
Somebody
you
take it.
mention that to the rest of us? What we learned about the Aetin? Or do we all know this?
Yeah, everything that's
Okay, cool. And then Nix would say again, so how could a mortal become a god king?
how can a god become immortal?
I don't know, Nix would say.
The workings of this are beyond me as well. As
Okay, it seems we're getting, diplomacy's going here. So this is great.
As was clearly identified, I am but a warden. Looking to Bodhi, kind of like acknowledging that is the truth, since he didn't have a chance to state it.
Sure.
There was a lot of questions thrown at him.
Well, genuinely, I apologize for our previous encounter.
You
You took
cannot,
us by surprise.
you cannot understand what I would have done to you. You were the better of the combatants. You defeated me.
I could take some wild guesses about what could have been done to me. It's been done.
I've died to mummy rot before. Like, that wouldn't have been a new ride.
Got a
for me.
diary.
I'm gonna
It's a tearjerker.
slowly
Tim.
pull out my javelin and just kind of hold it down at the side,
Okay.
like put the axe away and switch it for the javelin.
You
for a
got it.
minute.
So, you serve the six or sakes?
I do not.
Six, yeah. Oh. Who charged you with protecting this place, keeping this sealed?
The word that he says is something that everyone who is in this room should understand very clearly. The thing that is very strange about the way he says it is that his tone and tongue change to a point where when he says it, you're hearing it as it's being uttered, you're hearing it in the tongue's translation. Despite that technically being different, you hear it the same way both times. He says, Ashmedea. And if you don't know who that is, Joseph, everybody
Dun,
else
dun,
in the party knows and ain't that fucking. She is the matriarch of Red Dragons, who basically started the War of Sword and Serpent, had her heart gouged out by a guy named Averiu, and then instead of dying like someone might want a dragon to do when their heart's ripped out, she said, "No, fuck that." And she escaped to the gates of hell, the 13 gates, went to the gate of greed, grabbed that demon prince from his throne, and shoved it in her own chest so that she could continue to live on, with the demon prince basically taking the place of her heart.
And she herself is the demon prince of greed now?
Now, yes, but if this guy's correct in what he's stating, he is a servant of Ashmedea prior to all that shit.
Wow.
When she
Sure
was
are a lot of those.
just a dragon. Yeah, she was
Yeah,
quite.
what was the campaign to get so many people on
not
board?
stress how prolific she was in the War of Sword and Serpent. She was the one.
She keeps getting new recruits on top of it.
We
though.
ran a short series for Patreon members where they were literally fighting
Who was
against
that in
her
Paragon,
minions.
Dick?
And Paragon is also
Calrath?
still around and is used in the Tuesday game. Yeah, she is very prolific. I get it.
This
I
mummy who
understand.
seems like a reasonable guy, frankly.
He does.
You know, for
I don't
people
know.
who follow that fucking asshole. Oh, you guys like Calrath? He was a cool guy. You were best friends with him.
Oh, fuck
He
that
dropped
guy.
a whole bridge
Fuck
on me.
that guy.
Okay, maybe not him. I know at least one of you was really good friends with Ashmedea specifically.
Yes.
He
That
walked
would be
away from the
Chody.
computer,
Chody.
but we can talk shit about him still.
She was my
I mean-
aunt the whole time.
You sold her a whole horde of. That
I wasn't
Yeah.
done with her.
was a good swap. Yeah, we don't want to free whatever's
what does
down
this
here,
have
do
to
we?
do with the what is her name? My brain's
Ashmedea?
not working. No. The one whose symbol is on the pearl.
The Lady of
and
the
that-
Deep.
Yeah. What does this have to do with the Lady of the Deep?
The mummy looks to you and says, "I do not recognize this name, but I understand what you mean." And he gestures down towards the symbol in the middle. When this temple was forged, and this individual was bound within, this temple was already present. When this temple was made to be a prison, I may have said that wrong. Let me try and rephrase that. When this temple was made to be a prison,
We all
the
misspeak.
structure was already here. It was present as a point of worship for those who followed the lady. She herself would use this temple's bowels below as her defense against others like herself. The servants of Ashmedea and the servants of Varhud came together at this point to seal away the God King, Vaticus, to ensure that his curse would be controlled and not allowed to be set free and boundless. The curse of Vaticus is the curse of the parasite, the leech.
Well, shucks, what are we doing here? We don't want to unleash the curse of Atticus, do we? We're the good guys.
Nope, we don't want to do that.
I believe the chat is currently in favor of set him free, do it. I mean, ha ha ha.
Yeah, but they have their own mistakes to make.
I mean,
Look
if
at
we
this one,
do, it's
guys.
just going to teleport to Tuesday's game anyway. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
We
Yeah,
do fuck
that's-
over every other day of the week.
Well, no, what's funny is if people from the Tuesday game are watching here, they might be putting things together that are really, really bad. But we're not
This
there.
is their fault.
What's the relation between the Hoofy Boys and the other mummy?
So the Hoofy Boys appear to just be Cardinals. They're like undead that are
Cardinals.
Guardians, Cardinal, Guardinla, NAL.
No.
It's a word.
Are you sure?
Anyway, and the other guy?
I'm googling it.
I think that's the mummy from before.
Oh no, sorry. Cardinals are. It's not a just a common phrase parlance. It is actually a terminology for D&D, and I shouldn't have used it in this instance. Cardinals are angels that do what these guys are doing. They are sentinels. Yeah, the
Okay.
Leonin one I'm going to post a picture of here is what I'm talking about in the term Cardinal. But yeah,
Like that other guy. What's he doing here?
the Mummy Lord.
Yeah.
He's a warden.
He's
He said no.
in charge.
I gotta make
He
sure
tells
that
these things
you-
how well to guard the mummy's curse.
And I want to reiterate this again. He stated that it's his charge to make sure that no one gets below. And when he kind of referenced that, it seemed like he's referencing not the room he started in, the room he's currently in.
I mean, I would like to keep exploring. So.
There's more dungeon, is what I'm trying to say. Unless
I get that. I'm sure there is.
unless you don't want to go.
Did she?
Oh, we definitely want to go.
Did like the Lady of the Deep? Did you take this like forcefully from her?
Correct.
To put this here.
Correct. Her carcass remains below.
The actual lady?
Yes.
It's got to be good for spells,
She's
right?
probably the one.
What kind of
scrying
what
us
kind
with
of prison do you
damn
run?
girl.
It is
So
not a
you
prison for the
trapped
lady.
her down there with whatever the hell this is that you have trapped down there.
Correct.
You've got an inmate dead for how
Honestly,
long?
I was not
So
involved in the formation of the prison below.
We're gonna need to speak to your superiors.
But I have been. I understand
To
what
see a manager.
is beneath me. I apologize. The managers are the six. They are not here right now. I know where some of
Oh,
them
wait.
are. But by I know where some of them are, I mean me as the DM. I know where some of them are because they have been revealed. I don't
To
know
not get his badge number.
any of the others are. Get his badge.
So who are what's in the other boxes then?
The souls that have been those are the weird fucking centaur mummy things. That's their coffins.
Wow.
That's where they go. But yeah, the other sarcophagi are the souls of those who willingly served the Lady of the Deep. Their souls were then the power of their souls was repurposed for the sealing.
What's this room, Warden?
This is the place that I must protect. And
Oh.
he kind of gestures towards the sarcophagus, almost as if like he's referencing that being as his.
Okay. That's just curious what makes this significant.
I cannot allow you to pass. If you wish to contest us, I will fight with every element I have available to me.
Oh, now
As-
I wish I had counterspelled the tongues. Now I feel like we shouldn't fight this guy. It seems like he's doing his job, despite working for Ashmedea, is a good thing that he's doing.
I mean, the big question is, do we want to free this thing or not? And I don't think we have enough information to say we do, right?
Do we want to die to this thing after we open the door? Is the real question.
I mean, I say we do it.
Brent,
I mean,
I'm on
look,
board.
it's a win-win, right? Because if we do
Why?
this and we go through and we don't die, we might get like some help from some kind of like all-powerful being. If we do it and we do die, we get to eat items and
That
attune them to our souls.
That I'm pretty
Well-
sure.
Only if we find a
is
soul well.
watching us right now through a pearl that we decided to keep. 'Cause
Yeah, so
it makes sense that she would probably be the one watching us,
Well,
or at least someone that
it
wants
is.
her to be freed or something.
I will say it is interesting, the story of the Lady of the Deep, and if you've been here for a while, you know it. But yeah, she's another element of player poor decisions in the current, like the way she exists now. So, yeah, if
I
you
know
want
nothing
to
about her.
if you want to fight another person's problem that they made to foist on others in the future, you certainly can go that route.
Ask the warden if he knows who can see the stone, the pearl.
Based on the marking, I presume it is a servant of the Lady of the Deep, or the lady herself.
Because it had to have been somebody involved in probably mummifying the people upstairs, yeah?
The sarcophagi, besides the ones that you fought me and my compatriots in, were placed here
Sorry about them.
long before we were ever here. Our temple was built atop theirs. We used the layer below for our purposes.
Everything we've seen so far is a new addition, basically.
Well, no, the level directly above you was, yeah, basically the two levels, the sub-basements, that's the Lady of the Deep temple. The temple on top covered in sand, that's the Tome of the God King. And I think I'm doing that wrong.
And there's more below this. Is what he's.
Yeah.
I keep saying God King. It's not God King.
Why not? It's a
It is
cool
God
title.
King. Yeah, it is. It is God King. Why is my brain dumb?
Are we gonna
It's
kill these
Cal-
three guys?
Cal-
Or are
I
we
say
gonna do
we're
some
going
grave
now.
robbing?
we got to go grave rob underneath this guy. So
There's graves to rob right behind us too.
yeah, but I also want to just get down there because I feel like there's like some kind of ancient curse down there that I really kind of want to get. So
I'm like, also, I mean, did we know that he's gonna let us leave?
Oh, hey Warden, what are these rings on my friend here?
I will not elucidate upon them. The knowledge will give you a capability I do not wish to grant you due to my charge.
can
Inside
I control
check.
the temple with it from everybody.
Bodhi,
15.
you're pretty sure he just gave the game away. The rings probably allow you to access lower portions of this temple.
Right. That makes sense. Ugh. But they don't control the mummy centaurs.
They do not
That'd be,
control them.
that'd be pretty cool if we just sicked him on him.
Just ride the mummy centaurs.
Get them all.
New mount.
Yeah,
Well,
I say we go to town.
that's
Scary
the paid DLC though.
farm.
If you want to ride the hands mummy mount centaur thing.
you gotta turn in enough Mountain Dew points.
Yep. Gamer fuel.
Gamer
what-
fuel.
Yeah, that's what it was called. The Halo shit. Reminds me of a dumb thing I saw on TikTok. It was like Bethesda just got bought up by like not too long ago by Microsoft, and they did like a bit where like Skyrim was just redone, but it's the Master Chief. And I thought it was fun. Sorry.
Okay.
My brain went to.
So let's take a step back here. What are we doing here that we're supposed to be doing? Which I don't think is anything.
You literally
We just
came
wanted
here
to
on a
check
lark.
out this place. Because they were going to stop their excavation.
Yeah.
Because it was not worth the money.
Yeah.
We found some cool treasure. I got hurt a good bit.
I tried real hard.
Sanat got hurt a good bit. I think Ezekiel got hurt a good bit. So far, we're coming out as having benefited.
Yeah.
We don't have a goal here,
Have a
but we've
insatiable
encountered an
thirst
obstacle.
for knowledge, and I don't know that I'll be satisfied just leaving. But
Sanat's on board for push forward.
Okay,
I'm on board for there are 6 rooms right behind us. We haven't stolen all the shit out of you.
We can go check those out and pretend we're leaving. And I'll even cantrip out some footsteps of us going far away from the mummy. Oh, so
I
many
want to go through
stairs.
the mummy. I got these rings and they're really cool and I want to use them.
Nope. I think we're good. You don't have just because he's
One
here doesn't
vote.
mean we have to do it.
One vote for we're good. One vote for we wish to press forward. Uther, you said something about looting the chest, but that doesn't determine whether we're staying for the long haul or heading out
I don't
after.
care which way we go, but I just don't want to leave unrobbed graves.
Right. If we're robbing graves, we need to rob all of the graves.
We're this far into the scent already.
I'm glad you got rid of that little nitpick from Raya.
Yeah, we'll just kill
He
these
never
guys,
lets
then
it
loot
go.
them.
Don't
It
rob
was
graves,
on
you
his
guys.
character sheet.
I get it.
All the graves.
Jody, what do you want to do?
I also kind of agree with checking the stuff. If it was earlier in the session tonight, I'd say screw this, let's fight. But since it's about the end,
Oh, we can fight next week.
Yeah,
I know. I'm just saying, like, it will take us 5-10 minutes to go. Okay, let's rip open these graves, check it, and then we're gonna go in
Maybe
and fight.
if you're fucking lucky, you bunch of loser ass rolls. last time.
Freaking strength 20. Bring it.
It did
Plus
you
a
a
D8
lot
plus
of
a
good
D4.
last time,
Jody.
Hey man, I learned.
Jody, I've seen you roll dice.
bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Very true.
You talk a big game, but we both know that sarcophagus.
Is
thing.
but
anybody in a position that they need a rest?
I could
We
give it a
haven't-
nice rest.
Look, all I'm saying is we kill these guys, we have the chance to rest and loot coffins. It's
We could
win,
rest
win, win.
before we kill these guys.
Also,
Are you
we keep
talking
getting-
about this in character right here?
It seems so.
No, of course not.
Because if
Also,
so,
we have
we'll
the
descend a little
worst
early,
habit.
'cause you're
We have
in
the
a
worst
fight.
habit of being
They
unprepared.
don't speak common.
They
Yeah,
have tongues
they have
cast.
tongues.
They understand all
The
languages.
warden does.
They can't because this one existed after they learned the spell. So if the timeline doesn't allow for it, then you can't speak it.
No, that's not how it works. Good try. Was adorable.
Anyway, we have a track record of being completely unprepared for shit we know nothing about and fighting
Yeah,
it.
what better than to do that right now?
Somebody just point a direction, forward or backward.
That's it.
I say forward. I'm stepping forward.
Okay, so we have Joseph and Brent voting for forward. We have Andy voting for not forward. We have Chody for backwards based on the thumb gesture there. We have Uther voting for.
Someone point and I'll go.
Okay, so that's a null vote. So now we have the
Forward.
tiebreaker.
God damn it.
We move forward. Okay, so this isn't a bad ending point. So what I'll say is as Ezekiel kind of brandishes his blade and raises his shield, the mummy kind of looks towards you. You can see this.
Oh, I'm going to move faster than that.
Well, I know we're gonna
Yeah,
get.
I was gonna say if
we're
I
gonna get
see
to
him,
initiative.
I'm gonna
I'm just-
throw that javelin.
We're getting to initiative. That's fine. I just
We're
wanna
all
make sure-
ready to fight now.
I want to make sure that the cinematic nature of it is not lost on us. Okay, you're gonna get your attacks, but there's no surprise round here.
He gets hit in the face with a javelin. Go.
That's and is it a magical javelin?
It's gonna be 2
I don't
hits.
care if
John.
it does or not. I just think
I
it's
know, I
like I
do.
took out
Okay,
the javelin to
that's
be
fine.
ready.
Let's say
I
that
thought
that's the
it would
case.
be
I like
cool.
that. That's cinematic. The javelin flies, hits the mummy in the face. It's immune to non-magical damage from weapons, so it sticks in it, and he kind of
Perfect.
looks at you with the so it's like an FMV, but there's just a javelin stuck in his fucking face for some reason. And
Looking around and waving a big stick.
Yeah, it's like clipping.
I'll
It's like
strike
just
that
going.
with lightning later. It'll help.
But it's too heavy for his neck. So he just keeps looking down slowly, picking it back up.
So the gravity and the seriousness of the scene is gone. But he looks to you, Ezekiel, as you brandish your weapon, and he says, I will do everything I can to stop you, and if you succeed, then I pity your soul. And when he says that, you see an identical version of him appear behind him, sans the wrapping, in the very same blue color tone that Dance the Eternal are aware of, standing over him, kind of holding its hands off to the side as if it were puppeting his corpse. And that
Nice.
is where we'll end the session for tonight. Thanks for watching this, and we will see you as we continue the fight here. Mummy slapdown. Fuck mummies, kill all the mummies. All right. See ya.
Boo.
So this